Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braj Jana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braj Jana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Shri Radha Madhav ki Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Kruddha sadhushto shtaputa sadhurjatir. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 5, Text 2, and we'll read 3 and 4. Kruddha sudhashto shtaputa sadhurjatir. Jatam tadidvanis satograrosh rochisham utkritya rudra sahatot sahat sahasothito hasan gambhir nado visasarjatam bhuvi krudhas sudushto saputa sadhurjatir Jatam tatidvanis satograrosh rochisham Utkritya rudra sahasottito hasan Gambhir nado visasarjatam bhuvi. Thus, Lord Shiva, being extremely angry, pressed his lips with his teeth and immediately snatched from his head a strand of hair, which blazed like electricity or fire. He stood up at once, laughing like a madman, and dashed the hair to the ground. Tato tikayas tanuvas prishandivam sahasrabahur ganarukti suryadhrik karaladang shitrujvalad agnirmurdhaja Kapalamali vividhodhyatayudha. A fearful black demon as high as the sky and as bright as 3 suns combined was thereby created. His teeth were very fearful, and the hairs on his head like burning fire. He had thousands of arms equipped with various weapons, and he was garlanded with heads of men. Tam kim karo Tam kim karomiti krinantamaha Bandhanjalim Bhagavan Bhutanatha Daksham Sayagyam Jahimad Bhatanam Tvamag Tvamagrani Rudra Bhatang Sakome. When the gigantic demon asked with folded hands, "What shall I do, my lord?" Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutanatha, directly ordered, "Because you are born from my body, you are the chief of all my associates. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice." Once again, when that gigantic demon asked with folded hands, "What shall I do, my lord?" Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutanath, directly ordered, "Because you are born from my body, you are the chief of all my associates. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice." Purport. Here is the beginning of competition between Brahma Tejas and Shiva Tejas. By Brahma Tejas, Brahminical strength, Bhrigu Muni had created the Ribhu demigods who had driven away the soldiers of Lord Shiva stationed in the arena. When Lord Shiva heard that his soldiers had been driven away, he created the tall black demon, Veerabhadra, to retaliate. There is sometimes a competition between the mode of goodness and the mode of ignorance. That is the way of material existence. Even when one is situated in the mode of goodness, there is every possibility that his position will be mixed with or attacked by the mode of passion or ignorance. That is the law of material nature. Although pure goodness or Shuddha Sattva is the basic principle in the spiritual world, pure manifestation of goodness is not possible in this material world. Thus, the struggle for existence between different material qualities is always present. The quarrel between Lord Shiva and Bhrigu Muni, centering around Prajapati Daksha, is a practical example of such competition between the different qualitative modes of material nature. So, Om Jnanam Timarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Once again, when the gigantic demon asked with folded hands, "What shall I do, my lord?" Lord Shiva, who is known as Bhutanath, directly ordered, "Because you are born from my body, you are the chief of all my associates. Therefore, kill Daksha and his soldiers at the sacrifice." So this is the part, very wonderful part, where Daksha is getting the reaction to his actions. He is now going to be punished by Lord Shiva. and he will be killed by him and receive a goat's head. So he won't actually die, but he will be beheaded, and then the sages, out of their compassion, put a goat's head on Daksha's body. So this is the result of Lord Shiva being offended by Daksha, and Daksha's offense to the personality of Godhead in the form of Shiva, and to a very, very great devotee of the Lord, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. So an incarnation of the Lord and devotee of the Lord, who is perfect in all respects, but Daksha was still criticizing him for being an ascetic. And Prabhupada says that he was a materialist, so he wanted his son-in-law to also be a materialist. But because he was not, he was being criticized, and that was Daksha's mistake. But Daksha, he was also being supported by the Brahmanas, by so many Brahmanas. They were all, serving under him, doing a sacrifice for him. And when uh, when Daksha is attacked, then first of all, before the big demon came, many of the associates, Virabhadra was the name of the big black demon. Then many of the associates, they came forward. Then through their mantras and mystic powers, Bhrigu Muni and others were destroying these demons. Bhrigu Muni, in response to the demons that Lord Shiva created the Ribhu demigods, who drove away the soldiers of Lord Shiva. And then, so this is like, competition going on. Lord Shiva is sending his soldiers. Bhrigu Muni is is pushing them away. And when Lord Shiva sees this, then he says, okay, now they're finished. And then he takes a hair from his body and creates this demon. So one of the lessons we learn from this is that one should not engage in battle or in a fight with someone who is far, far more powerful than us. And that is the Lord, particularly. Lord Shiva is Lord Vishnu in touch with this material world. So it was a mistake to try to drive away the soldiers of Lord Shiva. Rather, they should have surrendered to Lord Shiva at that point, because that only created an even greater reaction, an even larger reaction, a bigger reaction. So, so there's no purpose. All the demons have been trying this since time immemorial to somehow fight Lord Vishnu, but they've never been successful. And we see here that even the demigods, sometimes being too infatuated with material life, even they fight with the Lord. And the example of this is here, where Bhrigu Muni, these are not just the demigods, even the sages have the audacity to fight against Lord Shiva. And we also see how when Lord Krishna uproots the Parijata tree from Indra's garden, which belongs to him. Everything in the heavenly planets belongs to Krishna. He is the one who's given it to Lord Indra and who keeps protecting him every time the demons attack him. When Krishna takes it, then Indra, being infatuated by the pleasures of heavenly life, has the audacity to try to fight Lord Krishna. And that doesn't go well. And he gets chastised by the Lord in response. He's not able to protect the tree, and it only gets worse for him, far, far more worse. He then not only doesn't protect the tree, but he loses his honor, becomes embarrassed that he tried to fight with the Supreme Lord. Similarly, we see even Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma creates a a situation where he is testing Krishna in the Brahma Vimohana Leela, and he takes away the coward boys, and this doesn't please Krishna, and as a result, Lord Brahma also uh, is in one way punished by the Lord. And then we have the famous example of Govardhan Leela, where Krishna is lifting Govardhan Hill on the pinky finger of his left hand, just to teach again Indra a very big lesson. So both, it's not just the demons, both the demons and even the demigods, at times, when they forget their eternal position as a servant of the Lord, they try to fight against the Lord. They try to compete with the Lord, and that becomes the cause of their downfall. And any devotee of the Lord, and that's why positions of power and management are very dangerous for the devotee. Although they're accepted for service, they can be very dangerous. Because when we are in those positions, one can start thinking that I am the Lord rather than the servant of the Lord. And though we may not think that I am Krishna, we don't get into that deep of a ignorance, but we can start to think that I am a controller, I am a master of others, and I have some power by which I can, that makes me better than the rest of the world. So these are the various examples. And then on the flip side, we see that sometimes the demons, though they're demons, become very great devotees of the Lord. And they, rather than fighting with the Lord, they surrender with the Lord, even though the demigods are actually more interested in material life. I just need to plug in the charger for my laptop. I just got a low battery, so I'll be back in 1 second, sir. Just like the example of Bali Maharaj is so significant. Bali Maharaj was a demon, right? He was the greatest demon. He was the emperor of the whole universe, not just the world. He had conquered Indraloka, all the planets, simply by, the strength of his devotion, right? He is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. And when he is in that position, imagine the power, the prestige in that position. We get a little bit of power, right? We may become a mayor, or we may become the head of an organization, and we are so full of it. This is who I am, and see, I'm such a respectable person. And then if someone becomes a president, they get so much ego. And then imagine the king of the world, but this person is the emperor of the universe. On his beck and call, he can make hundreds of nuclear bombs go. He can he can have 1,000 people killed. Imagine the strength and power that he had. And when Krishna comes as Vamandev, and a small little boy, he comes to Bali Maharaj's door, then he just begs the king for some charity. And when he begs the king for some charity, then the king says, ask me whatever you like. Bali Maharaj says, you ask me whatever you like. The seas, the countries, the whole planet, I can give you whatever you like. And Vamandev responds, I just want, as we know, 3 paces of land, 3 steps of land. To do my bhajan, to lie down, I need 3 steps of land. Bali Maharaj almost is offended by this small request. He says, please, my son, ask something more. Ask in such a way that you never have to ask again in your life. Why are you asking for so less? Just like we, as parents, want to leave enough of an inheritance for our children so that even if they never work in their life, they won't have any problem, right? That's the dream of every parent. Let me leave this much money for my children, that even if they never worked, they will never starve because they have so much. So he's saying, ask in this way that you'll never have to ask again. And then, of course, Vamandev says, no, I just want 3 paces of land. And he accepts it. He says, I'll give you that. At that moment, his spiritual master Shukracharya comes and says, "Stop, stop, don't do this. This is Lord Vishnu. He has come to take away everything from you. Do not give him what he has asked for." And at this point, Bali Maharaj recognized that this is Lord Vishnu. He believed Shukracharya's words because he was very intelligent, Shukracharya. There's no doubt. He had many, many siddhis. And he also could understand that Krishna will, Vishnu will take away everything from him. Yet, although he is in such a powerful position, although he's the control of the entire universe, and although he's a demon born in a demoniac family, Bali Maharaj is such a great devotee of the Lord that he says, "No, I will not keep this for myself. I will give everything to the Lord. I'll give everything back to him." Hmm. Though he's born of a demoniac family, he's surrounded by demons, he's the king of the demons. He says, "No, I will give." If, he's asked for 3 paces of land, but if you are saying what is true, which at that point, Bali Maharaj, because he was a great devotee of the Lord, in his own heart, he could understand that this is the Lord. And he says, if this is his trick, his ploy to take everything away from me, then he says, let it be so. Who am I to resist the Lord from taking everything? Let me give him everything that belongs to me. And then he further says Om promise after that, and he proceeds to give everything to Vamandev. Imagine, here Bhrigu Muni and the sages and Daksha, they are not even willing or able to give respect to Lord Shiva. What to speak, Lord Shiva is not asking for the throne of Indra. He's not asking for any respect, any position, honor. But they are unwilling to even offer respect to Lord Shiva and offer respect to the husband of Sati, Durga Devi, Parvati. And Bali Maharaj, on the other hand, though he's not being asked, he doesn't have to give anything. The Lord is coming as a beggar in the form of a small child. He is giving everything to the Lord. And that is why Bali Maharaj, not Bhrigu Muni or the other sages, but Bali Maharaj is called a Mahajana, a great Mahajan, because he is showing the example of self-surrender, not competing with the Lord, rather surrendering our life to the Lord. The more the Lord is asking, the more we are giving to the Lord. And then Krishna is Vamandev. He proceeds to expand himself and cover the entire universe in those 3 paces of land. But what happens? He expands himself so much that he covers the entire universe, all the 3 worlds in 2 paces. 1, 2. And in two steps, it's like he didn't even need 3. He covers the entire universe. Once he does that, then the Vamandev turns to Bali Maharaj and he says, "You liar. You promised me 3 steps of land, and now you are not even able to fulfill your word of honor." Imagine Bali Maharaj had given everything to the Lord just to, of course, out of his devotion to Krishna, but externally at least, just to fulfill his word. He said, though I didn't say Om promise, Shukracharya says, you didn't say Om promise, so you don't have to fulfill your word. But just to fulfill his word that he had said, just mentioned, he hadn't taken water in his hand. He gave away everything to Krishna. He was more truthful than his spiritual master, Shukracharya. He was more truthful than the demigods. And then Krishna, the lover of his devotees, the refuge of his devotees, what does he turn around and do? Krishna accuses Bali Maharaj that you didn't fulfill your promise. Imagine the devotee who's given everything to the Lord to fulfill his promise to the Lord. Krishna, who loves his devotees, is telling Bali Maharaj, you are no good, and you couldn't even fulfill your promise. This is the Lord. This is what it means to be Bhagavan. But then see how great the devotee is. He says, yes, you're right. I'm such a fallen soul. Bali Maharaj thinks and he says, but I do have a place for your third step. You kindly, please, put that step on my head. You place your third step on my head, and that will be a suitable place for your third step. Now, Srila Prabhupada describes how in 2 steps Krishna covered the entire universe. So how is it that Bali Maharaj's head is sufficient for Vamandev's third step? And in some ways, he's already covered it. When his leg expanded, he certainly expanded over Bali Maharaj. So in some sense, did Bali Maharaj still not fulfill his vow? But no, Bali Maharaj says to Vamandev to do this because according to the Vedic scriptures, the possessor of something is always greater than what is possessed. Right? So the person who owns their home is greater than the home. So Bali Maharaj was the possessor of the universe. He was the emperor. So he was greater than the universe. And therefore, in some sense, he was not included. Putting his head on Bali Maharaj, putting his lotus feet on Bali Maharaj's head was a proper place. And in this way, Bali Maharaj fulfills his promise, but he does so, and he only is able to do so by self-surrender, by fully surrendering himself to Krishna. Because that's the only thing that Vamandev was looking for, right? Actually, he had no interest in Bali Maharaj's kingdom. He had no interest in 3 paces of land. What he was seeing, Krishna is seeing, is that this is my unalloyed devotee, but he's still attached to his kingdom. He's busy in all his worldly things. I want him to fully surrender to me. And so he asked Bali Maharaj, he says, he puts the final test in front of him, and Bali Maharaj passes that test because he recognizes that Krishna is now asking me to fully surrender. And this is the hardest thing to do in our spiritual lives, right? We can give our money to Krishna. We can give, so many things to Krishna. We can do so many services to Krishna. But to give up our ego in serving Krishna and surrender our head to the Lord, that my head is yours, my life belongs to you. To give ourselves to Krishna, that is the hardest thing to do. That is Sharanagati. That is the complete surrender. And if we can do that, then like all of our acharyas have said, Ramanujacharya said, that is bhakti. That leads to pure bhakti. Prapatti, right? Surrender. Just surrendering ourselves, flattening ourselves in front of the Lord, that I am yours. And we see every devotee goes through that experience. Draupadi, right? Such a great devotee. Her life and soul was Krishna, the Pandavas. But until she didn't raise her arms and call out, Hey Govinda, and be prepared to completely surrender to Krishna, not to hold back anything, to put her complete faith in the Lord, right? Until then, she had faith in her husbands. My great husbands will protect me. My great sons will protect me. Or my own physical strength will protect me. And she's pulling back on her sari as the sasha is pulling the other way. Until she thought that all these things are going to protect me, Krishna did not appear. But when she realized, no, only Krishna will protect me. And I cannot hold back in any way. I have no shelter other than Krishna, and I have no backup plan. I'm only going to surrender to Krishna. Then immediately Krishna appears, and he appears and he makes that sari unlimited. So in the same way, here we see Bhrigu Muni and the sages and Daksha. They're so pious, right? They're such pious souls, but they are unable to surrender to Krishna. Why? Because they're not able to do that third step. They're so pious, but they cannot surrender their ego. They're still trying to fight back Shiva. Let me fight him back. But now when he surrenders to Krishna, then the devotee is able to surrender. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes how this is a battle between the mode of goodness and the mode of ignorance. But normally the mode of goodness wins, representing the Brahmana's Shakti. And the mode of ignorance, meaning the ghosts and goblins produced by Shiva, loses. But because behind them is Lord Shiva, then they're no match for Virabhadra, right? No one can stop this demon because it's being empowered by the Lord. That Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna are invincible. They can use any mode of nature they like. But if it is coming from the Lord, it will be unstoppable. The only thing the devotee can do is surrender to it. Just, so many examples of this, like the chakra that was chasing after Durvasa Muni. There's no way Durvasa Muni could run away from it. He ran through all the three worlds, everywhere, that I will find protection and shelter somewhere. But at the end, all he could do was surrender to the devotee, Ambarish Maharaj, surrender to him. And then the chakra went away. All he could do was take shelter of the Sudarshan chakra and of Ambarish Maharaj. So that is our life also. We must surrender our life to Krishna's devotees, to Srila Prabhupada and the spiritual master and the sadhus, the Vaishnavas, because that is the only way out. That is the only way out of this material world. Otherwise, it's very difficult. And that is the difficult thing to do, is to surrender. Our, life and is so many things we can do, but the hardest thing is to surrender our ego at the lotus feet of Krishna. And that is what we are seeing in this wonderful narration of Bhrigu Muni. We see that Bhrigu Muni is actually a very, very great sage. Right? That's another pastime with Bhrigu Muni is, he tests Brahma, Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. So he has some very, great spiritual strength, and he's also a great devotee. But he got carried away, thinking that Daksha is my king, so I should protect him no matter what. But he made an offense. And when Virabhadra comes, he cuts off the head of Daksha. And the other sages, because they didn't do the offense, they don't die. But because they're party to it, they all lose something. Like I believe Bhrigu Muni loses his mustache. Someone loses their eye. Someone loses a leg. So it's something they have to lose because they participated in that offense to Lord Shiva. Okay, so I'll stop here. Time is over. If there's any, we're already over time, but if there is any comment or question, we can take that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Nice and sweet class. So I was just thinking, some people worship Virabhadra as Lord Shiva. Is that true? Or I know people worship. I don't know if they worship as Lord Shiva or something else.
Hmm. Well, see, here it said, because you are born from my body, you are the chief of all my associates.
Hmm.
So, the Vaishnavas don't worship him,
Yeah,
but
not worship. Yeah.
those are followers of Shiva. It would make sense that they worship him because he is Shiva Shakti, right? He
Hmm.
is like coming from Lord Shiva. So that makes sense. Yeah,
Hmm.
that makes sense that, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, that's why we don't actively worship Lord Shiva
Yeah.
separately, but we offer him great respect. Yes.
One other thing, Prabhu. I think I asked this question multiple times maybe earlier. So, you gave a lot of examples of uh, uh, people who are born in demonic families, right? Bali Maharaj and various. I mean, but I don't know why do we call or Bhagavatam calls them as. Uh, I mean, they're not demons, right? I mean, they're born in a devotee. I mean, demonic family are surrounded by demons. That's what you mentioned. So
Hmm.
just thinking about in comparison with Brugumuni and all, right? I mean, Brugumuni, of course, I mean, he's a great personality, but here in this specific case, they're acting against, they did not stop Daksha, right? What he was doing, or they were even kind of supporting Daksha,
Hmm.
right? So, I mean,
Right.
for the act that he did, which is very offensive to Lord Shiva.
Yes.
So, but still our Bhagavatam calls them as devotees in comparison with uh, the other personalities, right? I was just thinking, so maybe if you can just comment on that too.
Yes. Yeah, because they're devotees, but they make some mistakes, and that's why they're not, you know, devotees at the level of like Haridas Thakur or those people who are perfected. So they're devotees, but they still have material desires. Even as sages, they have material desires, right? Even we find Durvasa Muni, for example, he is seeing Krishna in Vrindavan. He visits Krishna in Vrindavan so many times. He's part of Krishna Leela in so many occasions. He travels to Vaikuntha. He talks to Lord Vishnu, like, you know, like we and you are talking. He talks to Lord Vishnu. Imagine how great he is. But even on that level, there's still some uh,
Yeah.
uh,
More on the other side, Prabhu. I mean, this side is fine. I mean, the devotee side, the demon side, right? I mean, like, if you want to share on that, I mean, what is the name? Who wanted to kill Indra, killed by Indra?
Yeah, Vritasura. Yes.
Yeah. So, I
Yes.
mean, such a great personality, but of
Mm.
course, his form is not maybe nice.
Yes.
But of course, Bali Maharaj, right? So, I was thinking in that line more than the devotees making mistakes.
Mm.
Uh,
Yes. So I'm sorry, I spaced out a little. So what is your question in relation to the demons, like Vritasura and those?
yeah. I mean, I was thinking, why do they call really, I mean, demons, right? They are not demons. I mean, by
Not demons.
nationality or by their actions.
Yes.
Uh,
Right. So that's why, and absolutely you're right. That's just because they're born in the demon dynasty. Right? So their lineage is of demons. Their parents, their grandparents, the families that they grew up in, like Prahlad Maharaj, right? He's born in an Asura family, and that's why he's sometimes referred to as the best of the Asuras. Now, how is he even an Asura that they're saying the best of the Asuras? That's the family tree, right? But he's the greatest. Now, Asura itself doesn't mean non-devotee. Asura actually refers to a family lineage, and but he is a great bhakta, you know, great devotee of the Lord. So similarly, Vritasura, Bali Maharaj, they are like black sheep in a good way. They're black sheep where they're born in the family where primarily majority they're non-devotees, right? And that's why it's shocking, it's surprising, and that's why they're referred to still as asuras, because they're born in a family that 99% are averse to the Lord. They're averse to the brahmanas. They're killing the brahmanas. They're eating meat, drinking blood, all these things. But then they, for some reason, due to good fortune, due to past life, because of they're just liberated souls taking birth in asura families, they are actually great devotees of the Lord. So so
yeah, and
that's
somebody was asking me this question, I think, sometime back. How
mm.
come there will be a lot of demons surrounded by Prahlad? Because Prahlad is such a great personality, like Narada Muni. And anybody comes in touch with him, make him devotee. So,
Which is true. And all of his friends become devotees. And like the Nrsimha movie shows so nicely, they
yeah.
got like horns on their heads, but they're still becoming wonderful devotees.
Yeah.
But then they're the only ones because they were in association with him. The rest of the kingdom and the king and Hiranyakashipu's associates, they're still all demons. So he's still amongst asuras. Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Shrikant Prabhu, Bali Mataji, Kiran Tyagi Mataji.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. You gave a lot of examples and the class was so nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare
I was also
Krishna.
thinking about Vritrasura, as Prabhuji said, he is also a
Mm. And what
demon turned because of the Shapam only. Otherwise, he is not a demon also.
Who?
Vritrasura, he is a real bhakta, but
Yes.
because of Parvati's Shapam,
Yes. Yes.
he
Yes.
turned into, yeah.
He was Chitraketu who became a demon. Yes.
Chitraketu became a, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Yeah. Vritasura is a wonderful example of someone who's completely
Mhm.
surrendered.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
knows both sides,
Yes.
demon sides and the sangha. It doesn't affect in the case of Prahlada. We always say devotee association is needed
Mm.
and everything. Even without the association, if we have that strong faith, mainly of Narada Muni's teachings, right? That's why we turn. It depends on the guru, how he got initiated right from the womb of his mother. So nothing could stop him, even the Sangha and everything.
Yes. Yes. So because they are liberated souls, conditioned souls, we need Sangha. Otherwise, we become, even if we have determination, that determination will go away. But if we are already a Prema Bhakta, which is the level of Prahlad Maharaj, then we cannot fall. Rather, we will uplift others and we will create the association around us.
Sometimes I think, Prabhuji, in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that because of the pious activities, they are all saved for the next life and will be born in a auspicious family, devotee family only. So, is there any other background for Prahlada from his previous life? Why did he get his birth in a demon family?
Yes, there is actually. There's a very nice story why Prahlad becomes Prahlad.
Mhm.
It's a long story, so it's hard to cover now.
Okay,
But
Prabhuji.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but there's
Hare
always,
Krishna.
he's a liberated
Mhm.
soul, and not just that, he's coming from the spiritual world. He's not like
Mm. Yeah,
soul
yeah.
comes here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Hare Krishna.